Do you do a lot of backing vocals for them?
I do now. I didn't always. I don't like to be like, I don't want to be in anyone's face. And Karol's so famous too that I don't want to be like, hey, I can sing. Like,
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything about it for the first like at least half a year that I was with her. But then in rehearsal, her drummer, who was really close with Karol, she was like, hey, Jemma, sing the song. Cause they were singing a song and she didn't know the lyrics to something. And she was like, does anyone know the lyrics? And Juliana, the drummer for Karol G, she was like, Jemma knows them. And so I sang it, the song. It was casual, but Karol really liked it. And she was like, hey, like you can sing. I didn't know. And so then she had me doing background vocals for Tiny Desk. And that was my first time as my first legitimate background vocal gig.
Welcome to Creating a Life in Music. My name is Mike Salo. I'm a guitarist and music educator from Minneapolis, Minnesota in the US, and I want to know how other musicians make their living, how they got there, how they sustain it, and most importantly, the insights and tips they may have for the rest of us. I interview musicians from all over the world, from various parts of the music industry to break down the question, how do I do music full time? So join me as we discover the many different ways to create a life in music. If you're a guitar player who's ever wanted to attend music college but couldn't because it's too expensive or too far away, or maybe you're just beyond that point in your life and you're just too busy with your own family and your own career to commit to something like that, I would highly recommend going and checking out fretboardbiology.com. At only $29 a month, Fretboard Biology takes out all the guesswork, putting the right things in the right order. It's highly structured, highly organized, college-level guitar program designed by one of the top guitar educators on the planet, Joe Elliott. Joe was head of the guitar department at McNally Smith for a number of years, where he designed the entire guitar curriculum, as well as being head over at Musicians Institute in Hollywood for many, many years. He knows what you need to know. And you can get 50% off your first month when you go to fretboardbiology.com/register-salo, my last name, that's SALOW. So fretboardbiology.com/register-salo.
You've been doing like Karol G, like what? Like, so when I messaged, I was just telling my girlfriend, I was like, this old student of mine's like playing this massive gig. I was like, it's insane to see that. Cause like, I remember when it popped up the first time on my Instagram feed, I saw like a massive stadium after massive stadium. And I was like, what is she playing right now? And I looked into it and I was
very fast.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about it.
So I was basically like, I just been growing my Instagram and just posting videos and just trying to, do the content grind and stuff. And then I don't know if you remember Lucia Sarmiento.
Totally.
But,
I agree with her sometimes.
She was playing for Pitbull. And so she had this contact of a musical director for Pitbull. And he was also the musical director for Karol G. So the old keyboard player, she left to go play with Jacob Collier. And yes, exactly. So tough shoes to fill. But she left to go play for Jacob Collier. So they were auditioning. And so I did the audition. And they made me wait for 2 months or something to get back to me. So I thought I didn't get it. I was moving on with my life. But then they just called me one day and they were like, hey, if you confirm, then you're the new keyboard player of Karol G. And I was like, what? I cried that day. It was amazing. Because it was such a huge artist. She's extremely, especially here in Peru, because in the Latin music scene, she's she's number one female Latin artist. And so I hear her music everywhere. As I'm going to the Karol G gig, I hear it in the airport, in the car, everybody's playing it everywhere. And so it's really surreal to see all of that. And yeah, I went from basically, I didn't even play wedding gigs very often. I was basically, I don't know, I went from nothing to this. And so I'm really grateful. So that's how it was. Yeah, my first gig was it was my second, but my second gig with Karol G was Coachella on the main stage. And so that was a shock to the system a little bit, but
how did you handle that? Was that, were you excited? Were you terrified? Was it a bit of both?
Yeah, definitely. The nerves went away after I would say maybe 6 or 7 gigs. And then I got into the swing of it and I started feeling okay, I'm having fun. I know what I'm doing. I know how to perform and stuff, but the first couple of times, especially Coachella, because you just look out and you literally can't see where the people end. It's just a sea of people for what looks like a mile away, you know? And so I was just like, I don't know, you just shake. I was just shaking up on stage, just like trying to look composed, but you can't help it. I just get really nervous, but not anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, it was very, yeah, it was really cool. So I'm really grateful for Karol, but she always chooses female musicians. So that helps me too, you know, just that she includes us in some, because reggaeton artists, they don't have to, you know, like Bad Bunny doesn't have a band. Like a lot of people just play with like tracks and stuff, but Karol always wants an actual band. And so that it's really nice of her to give us that opportunity.
Yeah, at that level too, it's like they can easily afford a band and the highest caliber of band too. So why not? Because I think it's a win-win. It's a win-win for like the musicians that play, and it's a win-win for the audience. Audiences like to see the band. I mean, I think there's an entertainment value in that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a win for us. And I see the comments sometimes on YouTube and stuff of her performances. They're always like, "Oh, I'm so glad that she has a female band. It's so cool to see like a lot of women in the music industry together." And so yeah, it's been really awesome.
So when you got the call, so you moved to Peru, you said 4 years ago?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. You got it. Yep.
I moved to Peru with JC. We had come back from a cruise ship, and then we had some visa issues. So I decided to move to where he was, and we created a music studio here, and just kind of developed a home and a life here. And so that's where I've been living. And actually, that helped me get the gig as well, because one of the requirements was being able to like speak Spanish, but be able to go to basically like any country. And so the fact that I was American helped, but that I also spoke Spanish. So.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be a huge help in that regard. So is she, did I see, is she Colombian artist or Peruvian?
Yeah, Colombian.
Well, I thought I saw it because I saw a thing with Shakira that she had done. And that's when I was like, holy shit. So, so when you got the call for that, you were already well aware of Karol G at that point?
Actually, that was pretty much my first time getting into reggaeton. I mean, I had heard it here in Peru, obviously, like whenever you'd go to a party or to a bar or anything, there's always reggaeton playing. And so I had heard her music, but I wasn't like actively listening to that kind of music. But now I actually like it, I think, because I have so many it's really danceable music, and I also have so many like good memories associated with that music at this point that it's like I'm a fan now.
Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's outrageous to me, because when I looked that up, I mean, it was like the top 5 songs on Spotify all have like 500 million listens. Yeah. Like I was just like, like, but then you know, it's such a, it's sometimes I have to slap myself because I'm like, oh, it's such like an American thing to think like, oh yeah, I forgot there's plenty of other shit going around around the world that is massive. So immediately I was like, oh, this is like a massive artist that I'm only not aware of because I'm here and not there. Yeah, and
exactly. I had heard her music, but I didn't know her name until I didn't put the face to the music, you know, but because I'm American, but everybody that I talk to here, they know who she is.
They had to have been like, what?
Yeah, people lose their minds. Me too. I really don't know how it all happened. I don't know. Cause I guess it was just the audition, I guess. We put a lot of effort into it, trying to like make it look nice and be professional and everything. So
you say you and JC helped you?
Yeah. Yeah. We basically do everything together. He's a keyboard player as well. And so Lucia and JC helped me out, just like, I don't know, getting clothes for the audition, making sure that everything looked and sounded good. You know, they had me do like a piano intro, which I would do every show before her like ballad song. There's like a kind of a romantic like piano intro that they wanted. And so I composed that and they liked it. And so that's why they picked me. And I had to learn a lot of sound design too, because before that, like, you know, I learned how to play the piano, but I wasn't that good at like designing patches or any of that. But I'd also never owned like such a fancy keyboard. And so the keyboards that they give me when I go to the gig are like $5,000 each or something, so I had to learn like how to program and sound design all of the exact sounds that she wants.
So they would give you use these instruments.
Yeah, I can decide for myself, but
okay.
a lot of it is also based on the other keyboard player, because she had already programmed a lot of sounds on the Nord. And so for the old songs that we're playing that she had already programmed, it makes sense to just use the same, the same sound design.
You say other keyboards in the past one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a combination of me and her that we've programmed the sounds, but she'll pass them to me she passes them to me after she subbed in for me before, like when I couldn't do the United States tour. So we kind of go back and forth, and she passes me her work, and I did the work on the new album. But yeah, anyways, I had to learn a bunch of like new keyboards that I had never used before. So that also helps me a lot.
Yeah. And you say for the new album, does that mean for the tour part or for the recording part?
Oh, no, I'm not like recording on her new album. She has like a producer for that,
Okay.
But the musical director is the one that designs the live arrangements to play in stadiums or for something like Tiny Desk or SNL or whatever we're doing. He does the arrangements, and then we rehearse, and he basically tells me like, okay, that patch is okay, or it needs to have less cut off, blah, 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 whatever it is. And he is like, he okays that, and then we play it live. And then I just put it on a USB and I transfer it between whatever keyboard that we're using. Because if we're going to different countries, then it's difficult to bring the whole keyboard, So sometimes they'll have to use different versions of the Nord from different countries,
Wow. How many shows have you played at this point with her?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe 30, 35, something like that. Yeah, because we did sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
We did the Latin American tour, and I think that was like maybe 19 or 20. And then I've had quite a few shows like few and in between. How do you say that? Yeah, just various shows that I've done like one-offs. And then this July, I'm going on tour again with her in the United States. It's a stadium tour, so that's going to be awesome.
Cool. And I forgot to ask. I mean, I might have asked you when you were a student, but are you from the cities originally, like Minneapolis, St. Paul area? Or are you?
No, I was born in New Jersey.
Okay.
Then I lived in Iowa for a while. Then I moved to Minneapolis.
Where'd you live in Iowa?
Des Moines.
Okay, I'm from Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Cool. I didn't know.
Did you live there for most of your like high school and everything, or?
Yeah, like half of it. I think my last year in high school, I moved to Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We had a farm. I had like sheep and stuff.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the farm life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I lived over kind of I lived 10 minutes from the Field of Dreams.
Oh, perfect. Amazing.
It's not that cool.
I mean, Iowa doesn't really have much. It's just corn.
I mean, it's flat.
And more corn.
Yeah, the closer you are to the Mississippi, the more lively it feels because it's not so flat. But otherwise, it's pretty it's pretty boring. Peru's probably way better. So, are you in Lima?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm in Lima.
Cool.
The food is amazing. I highly recommend it.
I believe you. Yeah.
It's hard to do a diet when you're here because everybody always makes you try delicious things.
Well, it's hard to do a diet when you're here because everybody makes you eat garbage.
Yeah. I will say, Peru is better about like home cooked meals. People know how to cook way more than Americans.
Yeah,
they're much better like at cooking and seasoning and just everything. Like the flavors are just, I don't know, better. That, in my opinion, I don't know.
I believe you. No, yeah, totally. I mean, I'm right on board with you there.
If you're a guitar player or bass player, you should really have a copy of Guitar Pro tablature software. I've been using Guitar Pro for like 15 years, and I really can't live without it. At this point, it's sort of an industry standard within the guitar education realm, and it's really easy to use. You can make all your licks and write out all your songs, and you can actually use it in conjunction with ultimateguitar.com, where you can download Guitar Pro files and learn all your favorite songs. So I couldn't recommend this software enough. And if you use the code MikeGP at checkout, you can get 10% off your copy of Guitar Pro 8. That's Mike, MIKE-GP at checkout, guitar-pro.com.
Yeah, a little backstory, I guess, because the whole idea here is kind of creating life music. I don't know if you remember that class. That was a class at McNally.
Yes, I do. Yep.
So when it closed, I was like trying to think of, well, not when it closed, but trying to think of names. I was like, well, that name's not being used anymore. And I thought that was a very valuable class. So,
Yeah, sure.
and then the whole premise was actually, I wanted it to be around people's careers. So I was like, I'll just use a name. No one else is using it now. So
Yeah,
there you go. So I know you have a degree, or did you finish?
I did.
Okay. Cause I don't remember if
Yeah.
you were there when it closed down, or were you done before?
I graduated like 3 months before it closed. So I got really lucky. I'm so glad that I like tested out of some of the classes, because if I hadn't, then I wouldn't have gotten a degree.
Mm.
It's really sad what happened to McNally. It's really a shame, because there were so many like really talented musicians that were there, and a lot of them are doing well, but it's just such a shame that, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I miss it all the time. It was a really great place. But I have to remind, people have to remind myself sometimes that it's like, there are certain things I'm doing now that maybe wouldn't have happened because, and for my personal, and I think that's the same for many other people who maybe have gone on to do some kind of cool things that maybe they wouldn't have.
Right.
Whether they're a student or teacher, but yeah, I mean, I would easily, if someone said, "Hey, it's back, come teacher," I'd be like, "Yes, I'll be back." Like I miss that place. I like that place a lot. But so then after that, so that was 17. So you stuck around for a couple of years and then moved to Peru?
Yeah, I think I went on a cruise ship afterwards.
Oh yeah, you did. You said that. Yeah. So how was that? How'd that go?
It was cool. I loved it. Like, I had such a good time. I think I partied a little bit too much, honestly. Because they have a crew bar and everybody like gets together afterwards. It was really fun. We would play for like 3 hours in the night, and then I was with kind of a big group. Everybody except Jimena, who's my friend from Peru, was from McNally. So that was Andres Navarre and Eduardo Navarre and Tomas Simpson, me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me, JC, and then our singer couldn't make it, so we called a singer from here, and she joined. So that was really cool.
So wait, you went there as a band?
Yes, and they would split us up, kind of like we were the party band, but they would also split us up into smaller groups. So I would be the duo with Tomas, and then the rest of them would be a quartet.
Did you decide
songs?
Yeah, did you decide on your set, or was there a musical director that decided on your set?
No, I mean, there was management that would like watch what we were doing and kind of make sure that everything was going okay, but there was no musical director. Tomas and I ended up playing a lot of jazz because he really loves like jazz and bossa nova. So I ended up learning. We basically only played jazz because we could decide what we wanted to do. So we did a lot of that. It was really fun. I had an awesome time. I would do it again, honestly. I really would. If I didn't have the Karol G thing, I would do that, because just we got to see Singapore, which is my favorite country I've ever visited. Conflict Island, which is like just a paradise. The water is like aqua blue. And we also saw Komodo Island, where they have the dragons, Komodo dragons. Yeah, it was amazing. So then, sorry.
Oh, so this was a cruise, but it was like Southwest Asia type?
Yeah, it was in Australia, based in Australia, and then
Okay.
we went to like Fiji. Yeah, just around Australia, and then some parts of Southeast Asia.
Sounds like a win-win. Travel and play.
Exactly.
Music and get paid.
Exactly. Yeah. The rooms are really tiny. It's kind of a trip. Like, you have like maybe I don't know. It's almost like a closet, you know, that's where you sleep. And it's kind of military too. Like you wake up in the morning, you stand outside of your cabin and people like inspect it and stuff. So that's kind of crazy, but you get used to it. And then, and the benefits are, no, it's okay. Sorry. The benefits are really like outweigh that. And so, yeah, it was a really cool experience and I would definitely do it again.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, you said earlier you were like, oh, I didn't have much. I wasn't playing weddings or anything, but like you did that, and that's a huge thing.
Oh,
so
well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it is because like there's obviously like stage time, which is a huge part of that, of course, and then that's essentially tour. I mean, you're sleeping in the same spot every day, but you're not, you know, it's tour, but you never leave the bus.
Yeah,
and the bus is the size of a boat.
Right. I mean, actually, you can leave the bus though because
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
You do get to go to shore just for like a day at a time, or sometimes it's only a couple of hours because new guests load onto the ship, and then you get to go out and explore. One time in Cairns, I think you pronounce it Cairns. Everybody has like it has a different way of saying it. I don't remember how to say it, but it's a city in Australia, Cairns, and we got to stay there for 2 nights. And so that everybody went out and like went to hotels and stuff. It was awesome.
Very cool. Is it the north side of Australia or?
I'm sorry. I'm so bad at geography. I don't remember.
I mean, I just assumed because yeah, no, it's fine. Because I've never heard of it. So I was like, it must be a place I've never.
It's a big city, kind of like Brisbane, you know?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I have a couple students from Australia. That's the place I've been wanting to visit, except I don't like spiders. So I'm a little nervous about that.
It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
I've heard.
Do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's picturesque when you walk around. The city has free Wi-Fi. Like you take your phone out and then there's just like, I don't know how they do it, but there's Wi-Fi everywhere, you know?
Yeah. You start to question why you live in the tundra in Minnesota.
It's so cold.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back, honestly. I mean, I loved Minnesota and I have friends there, but the climate is so nice where I live. I don't think I would go back.
You don't, why would you? I mean, I'm I'm half the reason I'm, you know, switching all my stuff to online is so I can get the hell out.
You're doing great. You're doing amazing. It's awesome to see. I remember it was just like, I don't even know how long ago, but I remember like being like, oh, nice. Mike Salo has an Instagram, and you were at like 2,000 followers or something. Yeah. And then I checked again, like, I'd been seeing you posting videos and stuff, but it didn't occur to me like how much you'd blown up until I checked, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago or something. And I was like, holy shit, like he has a bunch of fucking followers. That's crazy. Yeah, it's a good job.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I shifted to the teaching thing and then that worked out.
Yeah.
Which is great. So
obviously you're calling, you know, you're very good at it.
Yeah. It's funny. I denied it for many years. I always wanted to use social media to show off my music. And then, I think something happened a year and a half ago. One of my friends was like, why? He was like, you teach for a living. He's like, why don't you just teach a bunch of stuff? And I was like, that's not the worst idea. And then I just shifted it all, but
yeah, it makes sense though. I mean, you're an amazing player, but people want to learn how to play like you.
Yeah.
I watch your videos and it helps me too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Very valuable.
Thanks. So after the cruise ship, is that when you moved to Peru, or was there some downtime in the United States?
We were going to get married. Me and JC. But then when we came back from the cruise ship, we had some troubles with the visa, and it was kind of like a low point for us because he had a 5-year penalty on his like visa, couldn't come back to the States. So we didn't end up getting married in the States. That was our plan, but it never happened. So I just said like, well, I'm not just gonna like abandon him. So I just ended up moving to Peru. I had no idea what I was doing. I just packed up all of my stuff and I just left. And I didn't know what the future would hold at all. But I just went there, and then his parents were nice enough to let me live on the 3rd floor of their home. And that's where I still live actually. And so they were very generous, and we ended up building a studio because they wanted to like increase the property value too of their home. And so we constructed. Peru is cool too because like you don't have to ask for permits or anything like that to build something. You just go and do it. You know, nobody says anything. And so you can just, and so if you want to build a studio, it's like, hey man, do you know how to build a studio? Yeah. All right. Can you come over and do it for me? And that's how easy it is. So we did that. And then I started posting content. And I think that's what we did for the first couple of years that I was here, just trying to like post videos. And it's because I had a video that kind of went viral on Facebook with Lucia.
Yeah.
That we had done when we were still in Minnesota. But it blew up while we were on the cruise ship. And I didn't even see it because we didn't have internet on the cruise ship. So I had like gotten off and I saw it after the cruise was done. And I was like, hey, like, this is super cool. So maybe I could actually do this. And, you know, if it's something like one-off like that, I don't know, it was inspiring to me. So I was like, all right, well, I think I'll just start doing videos then. Seems like the best course of action. And yeah.
You know, and I've noticed with this social media thing, there's waves of things that tend to pop off. And it's interesting. I noticed when I switched to it, you know, at first it was very much like show off your playing. And then second, it was like show off your playing, but also do something that's like kind of compelling, like something like, recognizable, like maybe, and I think that's always been there, like something that people recognize also as having like killer playing. And that's still a thing. But now I think because everyone started to watch other people do and go, oh, I'm going to try doing that. It's become like there's a lot of people now doing it, which you were early to the game, which I thought was really cool. And I noticed it shift because like for a long time, no one was really doing educational stuff. And when I started doing it, it was like just the timing. And so I've noticed like all the educational stuff seems to be like the thing that everyone's doing right now, which is great. It's like, that's the thing happening on the social media platforms, all educational stuff. So it's great that they're doing some of that too right now.
My last video that I did, well, it wasn't the last one. It was one of the tutorials that I kind of did after I saw your videos, and I tried to do something in the same vibe. It's my most viewed video on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
people love it.
Yeah.
They work because it becomes at the beginning of I think of the social media stuff, I think it was entertainment, and now it's people are looking to learn something. So they like the cooking channels, and they like, you know, show me how to make something, show me how to build something, show me how to play. And so
the more it's more valuable than just someone showing off and being like, hey, look, I can play fast. Okay, but like I want to play fast too. Can you show me?
Yeah, can you show me that? Exactly. And I think I've noticed like I try to trickle those in. Like I do like probably like for every dozen lesson videos, I'll throw in one playing video. And I think part of it is because I don't know, but anyway, that's getting off topic. So moved to Peru. And so that was 4 years ago.
Yes.
So were you teaching? Were you gigging much or day job?
I was broke.
Okay.
I was really broke. I didn't really have much like, the music scene doesn't pay very well here at all. I mean, the music scene doesn't really pay well anywhere usually, but I mean, you can make well, here we are talking about how to make a living with music, but at first it hardly, I mean, I could not survive just gigging here in Peru. Like a normal gig, like decent paying gig is like 400 soles, and that like equates to about $100. That's that's good. You know, that's like one of the higher paying gigs. Wow. I mean, I guess mid-range you would say, but yeah, it's pretty low. And so also the cost of living is lower here though. So I guess it kind of balances out, but yeah, for it's not that much. And so, yeah, JC and I though, we started looking for like, you know, just how to, Instagram started giving me gigs, and I also started selling on Fiverr, which is like a
Oh, I know that. Yep.
Yeah. Um, I did that for a long time, since I think 2018. I was on Fiverr, and I was taking gigs for like, I don't know, $30, $40. I've done a bunch of them.
Did you get a lot of them?
Oh yeah. Like I'm a
Oh.
level 2 seller, which is almost the top.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I tried that and just got nothing. Got no pull.
Really?
Yeah, and I think maybe I was late to the game. It was also like, it's anyway, continue, sorry. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it was it's kind of like, I feel like you're almost scraping the bottom of the barrel sometimes when you're doing that kind of stuff, because it isn't linked to your social media. Nobody knows who you are. It's not like, oh, I saw you have like this many followers on Instagram. It doesn't like, I don't know. They do not go together. That people don't, they just want a service, and it's called Fiverr because people, want to pay $5 for something. That's the that's the idea of Fiverr. And so charging a bunch of money on Fiverr isn't really going to get you very far. But I got a bunch of like small gigs, and then I got a bunch of good ratings, and now I charge more on that platform.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is,
and JC started, he actually just stopped. He didn't stop music, but he just branched out and did something different entirely, and started, he does stocks. So, yeah, he's like a trader now, and he's very good at it. And so that's how that's his part that he brings. And then my part at this point is the Karol G gig. And that's how we've like built this studio and created a life.
so he's day trading.
Yeah, not really day trading, because he says that's really risky. Right now he's studying in a school that like a university, not really a university. I don't know. It's not exactly a college, but it's like a course.
That's really cool.
He's studying Forex. I don't ask me like what any of this is, because I don't know much about it, but he does. And so that's what he does. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know a bunch of friends who've gotten into that stuff, and I know some people who've had a lot of success. If you know what you're doing and you know how to follow trends and everything, it can be very, very, very lucrative.
Yeah. It all started with the stimulus check in the pandemic.
That's so funny. That's exactly how I started doing it.
Oh, really?
I do it less now.
That was a blessing. And then so he took that money and he started investing it. And yeah, after a year, it was doing pretty well. So that's what he does now.
Yeah, I've heard that story many times. It's kind of like you get hard times can what they say, hard times can make millionaires, because everything just
not millionaires, just to clarify, but
well, yeah, I guess, but they because I listen to a bunch of podcasts and they talk about that. So like essentially meaning hard times can create opportunities.
Right, exactly.
Is the takeaway from that, because I knew some people who, that hit, and then they were just like, oh, I have all this excess money, and they just threw it in, and then when things came back, all that money they threw in was like doubled, tripled, quadrupled,
Right.
And
technology. Invest in technology.
There you go.
It keeps getting better.
One of the best things you can do as a musician is to protect your own hearing. I've been using these Eargasm high-fidelity earplugs for months now, and I really love them. They're nice and discreet, high quality, and they don't make any of the sound muffled. They let in the right frequencies that I need on gigs or at shows. You can get 10% off your order if you use code MSALO10 at checkout. That's my first initial M, my last name Salo, SALOW, 10 at checkout to get 10% off your order at eargasm.com.
So then you get to call for Karol G, and that is through a mutual friend's musical director.
Yep.
And you said you made an audition video. So that's how you auditioned.
Yes. It was 3 videos actually. It was one that was the piano solo, and then goes into the like piano ballad that just is me, piano and voice. And so they wanted to make sure I could play, because that would be awkward. You can't, like, it would be awkward to have a piano solo, and it just sounds kind of lame. So they wanted to make sure for that. And then they also had like a video where I needed to prove that I could do some like sound designing and patch matching, match the same sound of like whatever she had in her album and translate it into a live setting. And the third video, God, I don't remember what it was, honestly. But yeah, it was 3 videos, and then I submitted those. And actually, because my Instagram was so like synth focused, I've always really liked synthesizer. And so that's what I posted on Instagram. They actually, I think Karol saw it, and she was like, does she play piano though? Because all I see is synth. And so then they asked me to do another video to like confirm, I guess. They wanted more. And so I had to send another video, and with me singing as well, because they said like, if you can play any other instrument or do anything, like now's the time to show it. And so I did that, and yeah, just waited for a while, and then they called me.
Do you do a lot of backing vocals for them?
I do now. I didn't always. I don't like to be like, I don't want to be in anyone's face, and Karol's so famous too that I don't want to be like, hey, I can sing, like,
Yeah.
you know. So I didn't say anything about it for the first like at least half a year that I was with her. But then in rehearsal, her drummer, who was really close with Karol, she was like, hey, Jemma, like sing the song, because they were singing a song and she didn't know the lyrics to something, and she was like, does anyone know the lyrics? And Juliana, the drummer for Karol G, she was like, Jemma knows them. And so I sang the song, and it was casual, but Karol really liked it, and she was like, hey, like you can sing, I didn't know. And so then she had me doing background vocals for Tiny Desk, and that was my first time as my first legitimate background vocal gig.
So so Tiny Desk, SNL, both iconic.
Yeah,
at this point,
really big.
So which
really
one felt more intimidating? Which one felt more? Were you more
SNL.
excited about? SNL.
SNL
Okay.
was
I
so,
thought that was going to be your answer.
yes. I was like I told you, I had stage fright when I first got the gig and did Coachella, because that was my first time doing anything like that. I mean, that was scary. But then I lost that stage fright after like maybe 6 or 7 performances. But it all came back for SNL. It came back with a force too, because like everybody's extremely serious there. There's a lot of yelling, and they're like, you go here, you go here. Okay, are you good? Are you good? Can you hear me? And it's like, yes, I hear you. Okay, great. Here we go. And it's like, it's really stressful. At least for me, that's like, it just moves very fast. And the format that they do it is they do 2 shows actually with a live audience, 2 different shows. And so the first show doesn't actually get streamed. It's like a backup in case anything bad happens. And so you play the first show, and then you wait for like 2 hours, and then you get to, like, we got the video too. We got to see the show and exactly how it's going to look and exactly where the camera is going to be at what moment. And so I knew this part, I need to move more. This part, I need to, like, I don't know. It looks kind of stupid when it's over. So I was like putting all that through my mind and thinking about it. And by the time I got to the second show, the nerves just were like overpowering, you know? I was really, really scared. And I think it went well, but after we got off the stage, they were like, you need to take off your body pack. And I couldn't get it off because I was like so shaky and stuff. So yeah, it's intimidating. But next time I hope I'll be a little bit more composed.
The more and more you do these type of things, I would assume, you know, the more and more you get comfortable.
It's just different than a stadium. You know, a stadium, it's a beautiful feeling to like see everybody with their phones and the lights and stuff. But they're so far away from you, and it's like, it's Karol's show too, you know? She kind of like controls the whole vibe and the environment, and you just have a lot of fun. But in SNL, it's like, this is serious. Like, you guys, you can't, like, don't fuck it up, you know?
Yeah. I could imagine being on like a bigger stage and kind of feeling like there's so much focus on Karol. And then in SNL, it's like
suddenly the band is there in the camera, you know?
Yeah, and it's camera and it's SNL, for God's sakes, and it's very, very much more almost like intimate, where you're like, oh my God, now everything's in my face, and now I feel like
that had never happened before. Even for Coachella, like I didn't really get to see myself very often or anything. It was a huge gig, but all the cameras are always on Karol, and her band is usually in the background, but not for both of these concerts that we just recently did. It was very band focused. And so that's what I was saying too. I'm really grateful for that, because not everybody does that. I mean, With today's music and pop music, you don't always even need a band. Like a lot of people just have like, they just play the track and they have dancers as well. But Karol is very authentic and likes to keep it like that. And so
very cool.
Really
Yeah.
awesome.
So one thing I meant to ask, so Spanish speaking, is that, did you learn that later, or did you learn it in high school? Has it been something that's been part of?
I learned it a little bit in high school, but not to drag on US education or anything, but they don't actually prepare you very well for like actual speaking, you know? I knew a lot of vocabulary. I knew how to like say colors and like where's the bathroom and just like table, apple, like just random stuff. But then it's like, I want to say, hey man, what's up? Like, what have you been doing recently? And I have no idea how to say it, you know? So when I arrived to Peru, it was full immersion and JC's parents don't speak English. So I spend a lot of time with them. So I was very awkward. Like I didn't know how to explain myself. I felt really insufficient. And I think that's the best way to learn a language is just it gives you a headache. Like I had a headache at the end of every day. I was just like, oh my God, I wish I could just explain myself or say what I want to say, but I couldn't. And so I think that's what taught me the most, just being in the place where you want to be understood, but you're always too slow or people don't understand you. And so now I'm fluent and it's just living here that helped because everybody speaks Spanish.
Did you take any classes once you moved there, or did you just learn from just immersion?
Just immersion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long would you say it took to kind of feel like, oh, I'm good now?
3 years.
Wow. So you're on your 4th year.
That's not even that good either. There's people that fully learn a language in a year. I could have done better. Like if JC and I decided to switch and like actually start speaking Spanish, just the two of us, I would have learned even faster. But for some reason we didn't because we met in English and it was just weird to switch. But yeah, I speak to all my friends in Spanish when they're here, and I speak to JC's parents in Spanish. And I've even started to like translate some of my videos into Spanish too, because then it gives me a different audience as well. And I want local gigs here too. I want I want people around here where I live to also be like watch my content and stuff. So that's what.
Right. So you have more of an American following?
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's like 3% of my followers are Peruvian. So
okay.
It helped a little bit. Yeah. And it got me the gig actually. I don't know if it's what got me the gig, but it was definitely a huge plus because they were looking for someone who also speaks Spanish.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
All of the rehearsals are in Spanish. You need to learn it. Like it's really a requirement. The musical director speaks full Spanish. Karol speaks Spanish. All the producers and the stage tech, it's all Spanish.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. Well, shit, I appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, me too. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, it's great to hear about everything you're doing. That's pretty wild. For most people, I think one takeaway that you said at the beginning, maybe that was something we didn't catch. It might have been before when you had said it kind of just happened out of thin air and you downplayed your gigging experience beforehand.
But I'm serious. Like before the cruise ship, I was working as a waitress. I worked as a waitress for 7 years. And so, I worked at Sakura. It was like
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it was the job. It was really delicious.
Yeah, I know.
loved their food. But yeah, I worked there for like 2 years, and so that took up most of my time because I needed to make money, of course, and I didn't have that many gigs in Minnesota at all. So that's what I was doing, and then I went on the cruise ship, and so that gave me some experience playing live and doing all that stuff. And then the Instagram content also helped because in order to show off on Instagram, I actually had to learn how to play fast, and so that I had to practice actually to do the videos, and so that I ended up, practicing just by default,
Yeah, that's happened. I've heard that with other people too. You know, I don't know if you remember Charlie Engen from McNally, drummer.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he that was when he switched to doing a lot of content. It was like he not that he did wasn't already great, but you
Improve.
create so much content that you improve so much because like the goal you're essentially practicing way more than you would to get the best take. So all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, like I'm doing all this content, and all of a sudden like you feel like there's a lot of approval, and that's because
Yeah,
the fact that you're actually practicing in the same breath.
totally agree with you. I almost felt like at the beginning, I almost felt like a fake because I was like, in my head, I was like, I know that I took like 200 takes to get the perfect one, you know, but the one that I post is the good one. And so I almost feel like now I need to kind of practice, because if people see me live, then they're going to know that like I'm not like, you know, that I'm not as good as I say I am. So you end up practicing too, just to kind of like, so you don't feel like you're lying to your audience, you know?
And essentially it's that, you know, one of the biggest things I teach is for people, sorry, is to record yourself and analyze what you're doing and try to be better and try to improve. And that's
Right.
basically exactly what content creators do.
Yes.
Record yourself over and over again until you get a take that is up to the par that you expect of yourself. And that in itself is it's a really great practice,
It is.
a regimen, or whatever you want to say.
Uh-huh.
And you know, it's funny that you and Charlie have a similar story because, you know, that he has a great gig now. And that was one of those things. It was a social media, it was a connection, looked into social media.
Wait,
and
what
he
do
had
you have?
a Five Finger Death Punch.
I've heard of
They're
them.
like, they're a big radio rock band.
Okay. Okay.
So
Cool.
they're like Nickelback type,
Okay.
not like them, but like stature wise, they're like that
Gotcha.
level of band. Like,
Oh, okay. Very, very well known.
yeah, very well known. So they do very, very well. But it was a similar thing. It was got an audition, you know, had that kind of what do you call portfolio of Instagram stuff.
Yep.
And they went and saw that, and then he went from, you know, similar background to where you were. All of a sudden, I was like playing stadiums. And
Yeah, it just happens one day. I mean, I didn't expect it to happen, but I'm happy it did, you know?
it's a testament, and I think that happens more. I think it happens more often than people think too.
It's
I think-
consistency. That's what it is. Like, I think the takeaway from everything that I've gotten is just, for example, if you want to practice, like if you want to be a really great player, show up every single day and practice for at least 20 minutes. Just do it every single day. If you want to grow followers on Instagram, post every day. Like your video might do horribly, but keep posting the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually one of them is going to do well. And that's just, it's like, or if you want to get skinny, work out every day, you know, like, and
you show up and like, it's funny too, because there's so much, I listened to that, and with your story and his story and your story in particular, there's a lot of elements there that I think, you know, that come into play. It's like, you've shown up, you've proven to not only, you know, the social media stuff that you can play, and you are a professional in that realm, but you've also proven to your friends around you who are also doing it. So like Lucia was like, hire this person. Like, this is a person that I like, because you said it was kind of a recommendation in that regard.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Yes.
because you have
Yeah, the audition wasn't open or anything, so you had to already have the contact kind of to get the audition.
right. So and I can tell you from experience, and you know this, like your friends who are on a professional level, they're not just going to be like, this is my friend, hire my friend. They're going to be like, this is my friend, and they're awesome, and they've shown up, and so you've proven to, like, you know, you prove to the people around you as well that by showing up and putting in the work that you can do it too, because there's multiple, you know, there's different levels right there of like, there's the social media, there's showing up to your peers as well, because they're going to be able to recommend you, because that happens all the time where it's like, maybe you're doing something over here and you're putting a lot of focus there, but you've also shown up over here and then something over here goes, this, hire this person. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I also have been showing up there as well. And when I say showing up, it's basically like proving yourself in front and being
Instagram,
consistent.
I didn't know it at first. I don't think anyone knew it. I mean, social media hasn't been around for that long, but it kind of turned into a resume sort of thing.
Like a portfolio. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. But it wasn't always that, it was more just like, here's a picture of me and my dog or whatever. But now it's like, if you're a musician, like or an artist or just really anything, honestly, a cook, like that's your testament to like, okay, this is what I do. This is my professional, like,
right.
This is my professional portfolio. Is that a cat or a dog in the background? Right.
That's Percy. What are you doing?
Hi, Percy.
He sprained his tail. We don't know how. So, Percy, what are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. And
I have 2 cats. I love them.
Oh, do you? Mm-hmm. We have a dachshund, and then Percy. Percy is a mix. He's a miniature pinscher mixed with a shepherd. Come here.
Cute.
Yeah, he got a hurt little tail right now.
Poor
we have
guy.
no idea how it happened. I'm convinced that he sat on a bee, actually, and it's not a hurt. I think because it's summertime now, and this is when the bees are coming out.
Right.
But we don't know what happened. But he's got a little hurt tail.
Poor guy. I'm a big animal person. I love.
Oh, same. Yeah. We almost got a 3rd dog, and I said that's a bad idea. We should probably just keep it 2.
Me too. I wanted a little gray kitten, and I was like, but then I'm gonna have 3 cats.
Yeah.
And if I want to move back to the States, I don't want to take 3 cats with me on an airplane.
That's been our thing. Is like when we if we go on a vacation, it's like dogs don't do well. I mean, they need a constant person around. So the more dogs, the crazier the sitter has to be.
Yep. Right.
So, but yeah, no, I think there's so much to be said about, the layers of things you do in your life to set up yourself for these opportunities, because it's not just one thing, it's many things.
Yes.
And I think people forget that. I think sometimes people think, I've talked to, and to each their own, but I do talk to some people where they're like, they kind of focus down one path, and I'm like, in music, I think it's important to really show up in actually kind of several, because you never know who you're going to meet. There's plenty of musicians who, until they make the big thing, they're showing up locally, they're showing up online, they're showing up, whether it's teaching or whatever, because you never know who you're going to meet. I've met some crazy hookups. My music has brought in insane connections. My teaching has brought in crazy connections. And then, the online stuff, the social media, and even, dang it. I think I was going to repeat myself there, but
no, what you're saying,
or even local stuff. Yeah.
It's nice to see it all come together too. Like after you've spent so much time, because like I said, like I was super broke for a while. I thought I was always going to be broke. Honestly, I didn't really have that much plans for the future. And I guess that's what happens when you're younger too. You're just like, whatever, like,
well, yeah, I mean,
I don't know what I'm doing, but
yeah, welcome. Yeah. I mean, that's great that you're doing it now. Cause this, yeah, I think it's a musician thing. I'm in my mid-30s and I'm still feel that way sometimes.
I mean, there was just never anything else that I was really good at. Like or that I enjoyed. I got good grades in school and stuff, but there was nothing that interested me except band. I was in every single band, and I would just, I died for it. That's what I've always done. And so there was never any other option of like, maybe you should find a different career. It was always like, well, it has to work one way or another. And so it didn't work at first for a long time. And then suddenly it just fell into my lap, the gig. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is sustainable, like, I hope she doesn't kick me out, but like, but this is something that could
that's
really
a resume
work.
builder.
Of course,
right
it opens the door as well. Yeah, it opens the door to so many other things, because at this point I can be like, hey, I want to be in your band. I just played SNL, and they're like, oh, great, perfect. You know, like
Exactly.
or like, hey, can I open for your concert? I have my own music too, and I'm starting to play around here locally, and it's just easier. You make the connection, you show up to other people's concerts, and then you say like, hey, I have my own project. I play with Karol G. Can I open for you? And then people are likely to say yes.
That's a huge thing. It's massive.
Yeah. I'm really happy with it. Really happy. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's really great to hear from you and hear that everything's going so well. I've been following you now, and sorry I got something in my eye all of a sudden. So super happy to see, especially McNally folk. I have a soft spot in my heart for anyone who went to McNally.
The prog rock ensemble.
Right. I was gonna say, I was like, is all that Dream Theater I forced you to play?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't always show up knowing the song. I should have practiced more.
I mean, when I was teaching at that college, it's different. It was like everyone was an adult, so I was like, I mean, it's your grade, but I gave a good grade.
Yeah. You did. But I know I could have done better. It was very fun.
Yeah, no. Everyone. I mean, we had worse people. Trust me, we had worse people in that group that would show up and be like, so I kind of listened to it, and it's like, did you?
It's Dream Theater. You kind of gotta like learn it,
It was fun. That was a fun, and that one, that whole ensemble was for fun, anyways. And God, we had a lot of fun in that one. That one was cool.
Yeah.
Did you play at the high school? The thing we did. I don't know if you did that one.
I don't remember.
Anyway, that's a side thought.
I'm sorry. I don't remember that. Maybe I wasn't there.
No, it might have been a different, because we did the same ensemble like 3 times or 4 times.
Yeah, I think I was only part of it once. And if I showed up not knowing the songs, it's because I had a lot on my plate. Like I tried to be part of every group that I was.
You don't have to say.
I've always felt bad about that, honestly.
Really? I didn't judge you. No.
Okay, cool.
I didn't care. Yeah, I was like, I was having a great time just teaching there, and just the fact that I could teach a freaking prog rock ensemble. I was like, this is my job. I get to direct a progressive rock ensemble.
Not everybody shreds like you do, though. So it's kind of like when you show up and then you don't know the song, it's like, oh, fuck. Like,
well, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Well, it was very cool. You're doing great. It's awesome to see you like succeed and just blow up on social media. And I mean, you have too many students to even. It's way you have too much on your plate. You said so. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So luckily summer's coming, so it'll kind of level off a little bit.
Right. Cool. Well,
I appreciate being on. Anything you want to promote or push? You got the tour coming up.
Yeah.
American tour.
The stadium tour. And I'm gonna be releasing some new music. I do like kind of pop fusion. Like I have an album that I did in like 2019. I produced it myself, and so the production isn't that great because I'm not really a producer. But now I have a really cool group of friends that I've like made here in Peru and just kind of from around the world too. And so I have a producer friend that like I write the songs and then he produces them for me. And I'm really excited to release it. I'm releasing like an EP and hopefully doing a music video, which I've never done before. So that's coming hopefully before I go on tour, but it might have to be afterwards because there's a lot of stuff to put together.
And the tour is US tour?
Yes, and Mexico. There's a couple of shows in Mexico as well. How
many dates in the US?
I think
Sorry
there's
to put you on the spot.
I would have to check. There's like, let me count. I have like this little tour app that
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very useful. You can see everything. So we're playing Lollapalooza, and then we're gonna go to, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows. 8 shows. That's
cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so people have to check those out. So is that like, just go Karol G's social media, I'm sure?
Oh yeah, it's called the Mañana Será Bonito. I screwed it up. Mañana será bonito. Mañana será bonito. That's the name of her album and the tour. It's
Okay.
She's doing a lot of cool stuff too. Even if you're not like a fan of reggaeton, now she does indie rock and some bossa nova and some like funk inspired stuff. She's really branching out. And especially like with the collab with Shakira and stuff, like she's blowing up. She's in the like highlight of her career right now. And she's doing some really cool, like, you know, just different genres and vibes. And as they say, I'm here for it.
Very cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
And
it
we'll
was
have to
a
do it
pleasure.
again sometime.
Okay, anytime. Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
We'll be in touch. I'm really happy to have been here, and peace.
If you'd like to join my Patreon to get your questions answered by the guests, then you can go to patreon.com/Mike Salo. There are several tiers there that you can take part in, and lots of different perks like pre-recorded guitar lessons or even one-on-one guitar lessons with me. There are live masterclasses every week for certain tiers. And again, you can go to patreon.com/Mike Salo to check that out.